Someone once said something truly remarkable. When you look back on your life, you'll realize that the things that went wrong were often the very things that needed to happen. Today, I want to share a short yet deeply meaningful story. It is a true story, and at the same time, an inspiring one. This is the story of a Japanese monk named Tetsugen. He was born in 1600 AD. At that time, Buddhist scriptures were available only in Chinese. Tetsugen dreamed of translating these scriptures into Japanese and printing them on wooden blocks so that future generations could benefit from them. This was the single greatest mission of his life. However, he had no money. He survived by begging for alms and carefully saved every coin he received. He never spent anything on himself, believing that one day he would gather enough money to print the scriptures. Years passed. After nearly 15 years, he finally managed to save enough money to begin the printing process. He was overjoyed because the moment he had been waiting for had finally arrived. But just then, a devastating flood struck the region where he lived. Countless families lost their homes, and people were suffering immensely. Seeing their pain, Tetsugen donated every penny he had saved to help those in need. He kept nothing for himself. He prayed to God and said, "You gave me this mission. How it is fulfilled is also in your hands." At that time, he was around 40 years old. Once again, he started from scratch, traveling from place to place, collecting alms and saving money little by little. After another 15 to 20 years, he had once again gathered enough funds. He thought that this time, surely his dream would come true. But then a terrible epidemic spread across the land. Thousands fell ill, and many could not afford treatment. Once again, Tetsugen gave away all his savings to serve the sick and the suffering. Once again, he was left with nothing. By then, he was nearly 60 years old. He had returned to the very place from which he had started. Yet he refused to give up. His body was no longer as strong as before, but he continued traveling from village to village, collecting alms and saving money. He firmly believed that one day his mission would be accomplished. Finally, when he was around 75 years old, he managed to gather enough money once again. This time, he successfully printed the Buddhist scriptures in Japanese on wooden blocks. After decades of perseverance, his dream became a reality. Tetsugen bowed before God and said, "This was your plan all along. You are the one who made it possible." Later, Tetsugen passed away. But people often said that he had actually printed the scriptures 3 times. The first 2 editions were so precious that God kept them for himself. Why? Because the money intended for those printings had been used to help humanity. Service to people, service to humanity, that is the highest form of religion. The 3rd edition was the one that finally reached the world. Those wooden printing blocks are still preserved in Japan today. This true story teaches us an important lesson. Many times in life, we find ourselves back where we started. The things we desire may not happen. Years of effort may seem wasted, but do not see that as failure. Perhaps God is preparing you for something greater. His plan may be far bigger than the one you have imagined for yourself. So whenever you feel that life is not going according to your wishes, do not lose heart. Remember, you do not arrive at your destination by yourself. You are guided there. You are not the one playing the game. He is. Everything unfolds according to his greater plan. And let me end with the same thought once again. Do something so extraordinary that the world wishes to be like you.